If you won a massive jackpot in the lottery, what would you do with your career? Would you hightail it out of your current job immediately? Would you pivot to build a passion project into a business? Would you keep your current job or career because you love it so much? Well, if you're lucky enough to feel excited, inspired, and motivated to go to work every day, congratulations. This episode probably isn't for you. But if you're not so sure about your career plans, stick around. Today, we're talking about getting clear on careers, and I'm going to talk about a tool that I created, the Bold Life Clarity Map, that you can use to go from stuck in a rut to clear on what the next steps are to move into your next bold chapter. If you're confused, you're exhausted, you're uninspired in your current circumstances, this episode's for you. Let's dive in. Welcome to the Bold Life School, the show that empowers you to elevate your life and to step into your full potential. I'm your host, Jameson, and this is where ambition meets authenticity, where you'll find the tools and inspiration to grow, evolve, and thrive. Each week, we dive into powerful topics that challenge the status quo, whether it's to break through limiting beliefs, navigate life's transitions, or embrace the bold moves that push you beyond your comfort zone. Now let's get into today's episode. Years ago, I hit that strange mid-career place where everything looked right from the outside. The title, the team, the company, the responsibilities, the shiny annual review that said I was exceeding expectations, the money and the stock to go with it. I was on a career journey, climbing towards a specific career goal that I created, but yet something felt off. There were elements of this journey that I appreciated and enjoyed, but there were also a lot of elements I did not want. I often wondered if the downsides were worth the effort in working towards this goal. I had a hard time separating out what I actually wanted versus what I was telling myself I wanted. You're like, what? What do you mean? Well, we'll talk about the lies we tell ourselves in a bit. But during this time, I kept asking myself, do I need a completely new career? Am I just on the wrong path? Am I bored and just ready for a new challenge? Or is it the day-to-day stuff that's draining me and making everything feel heavier than it should? I couldn't tell what was what. I kept telling myself, this is a good job. If you leave this position, you won't find a better one. It's too much of a risk to change paths now. I worked too hard to get this far. I can't quit now. And so I continued to spin and spin in this pattern of confusion. And it wasn't until I sat down and asked myself the questions in the clarity map that things snapped into focus. What I discovered wasn't dramatic or even new to me. After all, I am a person who is ambitious, always looking for my next goal, and I'm always working on something to improve the quality of my life. But something about seeing all of my ideas on paper was really eye-opening and clarifying. I wasn't just unhappy, I was misaligned yet again. I was tolerating this career environment, habits that went with it, unspoken rules and expectations for myself that were draining me. And those tolerances were muddying my clarity, my ability to see what should be my next step. And that was keeping me from personal and professional growth. That moment changed everything. So what is a clarity map? What I love about the clarity map is that you can use it for any particular area of your life. So if you want to make a, physical health, mental health, emotional, social, spiritual life change, the clarity map works for those areas. However, today we're just applying the clarity map to gaining clarity on your career path. So the clarity map download, it's linked in the show notes if you want a guided version to complete now or later. It's a no-fluff, just truth-telling self-assessment to help you figure out whether you need a full career change Whether a strategic shift, like moving to another team or department, might unlock your growth. Whether your job is fine, but maybe it's your habits, your boundaries, your distractions at work or home that need a reset. It helps you examine your career from 4 crucial angles. 1, what you want. Not the responsible answer, not the what my boss wants answer, not what I need to or should do because of A, B, and C, but what do you want for yourself? The real answer. 2, what you don't want. It helps you understand on paper all the things you've outgrown in your career, but maybe haven't admitted yet to yourself. You may have to go deep on this one because we're so used to lying to ourselves to rationalize our decisions that we make about our lives, to explain why we stay stuck. Some examples of what you don't want. Maybe it's a realization that I don't want to work a 9 to 5. Maybe it's I don't want to have to sit in meetings 8 hours a day. Maybe it's I don't want to be out on the road or in the field anymore. Maybe your realization looks like, I don't want to feel stuck in a dead-end job. There has to be more. The third area that the clarity map helps you look at is what you are tolerating. And this is a big one. What you're tolerating in life, at work, are often the hidden energy drains keeping you stuck in the first place. Examples: being the unofficial team therapist or fixer, doing work beyond your role just to keep things moving or to try to get visibility, having no time for strategic projects, being too accessible, having to be on email, Teams, the phone, text, Zoom, countless other software applications, being ignored, undermined, or unsupported. These tolerations quietly shape your entire career and life experience. And the fourth area, what needs to change now. This is where you name the next right step. Whether it's big or microscopic, you point out the most urgent realizations calling for your attention, and there you have the basis for your first set of actions and decisions. This is prioritization. So to review the sections of the clarity map, we focus on what we want, what we don't want, what we're tolerating, and what needs to change now. So now let's talk about the lies we tell ourselves. Clarity requires honesty, the kind most career women avoid because it disrupts the comfortable autopilot we've been rewarded for. I'm not talking about huge admissions like, I hate my job. I'm talking about the micro honesty, the realizations, the truth that we can tell ourselves about the state of our lives that actually moves the needle. Things like, I'm constantly doing the work of 3 people. I keep saying yes to projects that don't help me grow. I'm bored but scared to admit it because the job's good. I'm craving leadership, but I'm acting like the team fixer instead. I don't even have time to focus on leading. When something on your list hits you in the gut, that's the truth you've been avoiding. These are pain points because they're causing you pain. And that's a good thing. Why, you might ask? Because they're letting you know how to redirect your path. Getting clarity might make you slightly uncomfortable because it reveals what you've been avoiding. Women, especially high performers, struggle with this because we've been conditioned to be grateful for good jobs. But what about a great job? We've been conditioned to move up the ladder, not over or out, tolerate the unreasonable workloads so that we can prove ourselves, be the reliable go-to person, because that's what women do. That's what moms do. We've been taught to normalize exhaustion as excellence. As a society, we're constantly competing for who is the busiest. And we've been conditioned to go the safe route and just get a steady job that pays well rather than one that really lights you up. So when something feels off, our first instinct is to talk ourselves out of the fact that we want more. We say things like, oh, it's just a busy season. It'll get better after this project. Maybe I'm the problem. I'm just never happy. I should be happy. Look at everything I've built. I've worked so hard. But ignoring that feeling and all of those feelings doesn't make the problem go away. It just makes it louder and often go on repeat. So we spin and spin in a cycle of despair where we're good but not great, or we're miserable and not happy. This is where the clarity map can be helpful. It strips away what you should be doing or what you're expected to do and lets you explore your feelings about your circumstances and future circumstances. You can focus on what you really want and what you really don't want. These are often the problems that are at the top of your burn list. I worked with a client who was overwhelmed and questioning everything about her job. When we went through her clarity map, 2 tolerations jumped off the page. 1, she was being known as the person who takes on whatever no one else wants to do. And 2, she never had the time for the projects that actually would grow her career because of it. From that work, we realized that she didn't actually need or want a new career. She wanted boundaries and a role realignment so that she could focus on the vital few instead of all of the junk in her inbox and urgent asks for attention. So she ended up setting one new boundary at work and suddenly had energy again. Not because her total job changed, because she did. Another client was also overwhelmed and questioning whether she was on the career path that was right for her. In the clarity map, she realized a couple things. 1, that she wanted to spend more time being creative, and 2, she wanted more autonomy to make decisions in her work. She couldn't see it, but it was screaming business, side business, passion project, something. But in our discussions, she revealed that her current income was really important at the time. And that was a piece that was really keeping her from keeping her in place and keeping her from dreaming or imagining more. She realized that her career desires were at odds with her current role. All of her self-admissions in the clarity map were pointing to the fact that she wanted out of her current role. So she created a career transition plan. She decided to start a creative business on the side and work towards career and financial freedom without having to start from scratch. Many women have constant thoughts about what they'd rather be doing and what they're tolerating, but very few spend the time in reflection to clarify what their thoughts and feelings mean in the bigger picture of our lives. They're unable to make the connections to what could be possible because the jump or the leap seems so huge and insurmountable. But making these connections is a great first step to creating change. Why does it matter? Well, it's helpful to learn with the clarity map that making impactful life changes doesn't have to mean a massive upset in your current life, unless you really want it to. When clients fill out their clarity map, one of 3 insights usually emerges. 1, I don't need a new career. I just need better boundaries. So many women discover that they actually do like their work. They just hate how they're doing it. Detailing out exactly what it is that is impacting their happiness gives them breathing room. Boundaries create time to focus on the vital few. Breathing room creates clarity. Clarity reveals whether you're truly aligned or just overwhelmed with all of the clutter. The second insight that clients see when they fill out their clarity map is that they're bored and they need a change or a new challenge. Sometimes you don't need to start over. You just need to stop playing small in the role that you have. Maybe you need a department shift, a new grow project, or a leadership opportunity that can completely revive your energy. And the third insight clarity mappers find is that they have straight up outgrown their career, and it is time to reinvent. And yes, sometimes the truth is that you've evolved beyond your current role, beyond the company, or beyond the industry. The clarity map helps you see this before burnout makes the decision for you. You might think to yourself, well, I don't need to go through this exercise because I think of this stuff all the time. However, just repeating thoughts over and over can still keep you stuck in a cycle of repeating behaviors. We've all experienced this. We repeat our strong thoughts like, I'm bored, I hate my job, I'm sick of working, but we don't necessarily form any insights about what's going on underneath those expressions. We don't get down to the root of the problems, and therefore it's pretty hard to figure out how to solve them. Most women think they're stuck because of this confusion or because of big obstacles, but honestly, it's often the tiny daily distractions that drain your career energy. Managing crises that aren't your responsibility, answering messages instantly out of the fear of seeming slow, agreeing to projects you don't want to do, spending your time on safe tasks instead of growth tasks, being the emotional sponge for your team. These distractions add up until suddenly you can't tell if you hate your job, you hate the people, or you're just overwhelmed. On top of it, the actual work distractions, we often have multiple additional distractions coming out of other areas of our lives. Family issues, financial issues, competing responsibilities, parenting duties. All of those things come with tasks and urgent items that we have to do right now. And that impacts our ability to focus on what's most important. One of my clients thought she needed a new career entirely, but once she mapped out her actual desires and things that she did not want to tolerate any longer, she realized she was simply overloaded with low-value work, both at work and at home. One boundary at work changed everything. She created a plan to reduce multitasking so she could actually focus on the things that mattered. And she got some help at home to do the types of things that were taking up a lot of her time that, quite frankly, she didn't feel were important or valuable enough and didn't require her specifically to do them. She realized that her solution was to delegate some of that workload and to create stricter boundaries around her life, to focus on those vital few instead of doing everything all at once. Using the clarity map as a vehicle for change requires that we honestly examine what's bothering us and what we truly desire. Then we interpret the data to draw conclusions about what needs to change, what the possibilities are, and how we might come to decision about what to focus on first. For some, interpreting your responses into an actionable plan and following them might be doable, might be easy. But for many of us, we need outside perspective to figure out what to do with our thoughts and feelings. If you've ever heard the expression, you can't see the forest through the trees, that's most of us. We're so busy focusing on all of the issues and problems and feelings and thoughts and needs and competing priorities around us that we can't see the big vision, the big possibilities, the big strategy that could be ours because we're so busy caught in the day-to-day. And this is how a coach can help you turn your desires into a reality despite all of those perceived obstacles that you have. If you complete the clarity map and you figure out that you want to make some changes, big or small, but you aren't sure how to get started, I'd love to help. Book a free clarity call with me at theboldlife.coach/programs. I will put the links in the show notes. Clarity isn't very useful if it's only about figuring out what you want or don't. It's valuable when you choose to do something. It's making a decision and moving forward toward it with strategy and consistency. In other words, it takes work too. Because every day you're not making a new decision to change or to be your future self, you are indeed still making a decision to sit in your own pain, to not control your future, to not make a decision, to not make change. Every decision you make in your career is a vote too for your next chapter. You're either deciding to ask for a developmental project or you're continuing to do whatever tasks are placed on your desk. That shapes you. You're deciding to stop volunteering for all of the tasks that just keep you busy and invisible, or continuing to feel overwhelmed and annoyed when you don't have time to focus on your work that matters. You're deciding to apply internally to a new team, or maybe you're just waiting around to see how problems shake out or get better in the future. You're deciding to invest in a coach or a mentor, or you're just winging it, not sure about what the future will lead to. You're deciding to stop tolerating behaviors that drain your energy, or you're continuing to let it be. Let people walk all over you, trying to use avoidance, and that shapes the quality of your experience. That client who discovered that she needed firmer work boundaries, her first steps were to get really intentional with her time. She blocked an hour a week for career development and one for self-care as a non-negotiable. And that's something that you want to do as part of this process. And you figure out in the last section is what needs to change now. For her, that one small act created momentum. In the past, when I've used the Clarity Map, it was the day I realized I needed to stop trying to make it work in a role that no longer matched who I was becoming. I started having honest conversations with myself, exploring opportunities, and eventually I mapped my career transition with intention, and I went for it. Clarity without any decision is just delaying growth, delaying improvement to your quality of life, delaying joy, fulfillment, or motivation to get up and go to work every day. Decision or indecision fuels your future direction. So when we start feeling the pain in that little voice shouting from within, we cannot continue to wait for certainty. We have to decide and focus on moving forward with something differently. So pick one shift, big or small, and commit to it. From there, you may determine that you want to add onto this commitment. Maybe you love it and you're like, yes, I'm on the right track. Or maybe you'll decide that you made a mistake and that you want to pivot. It doesn't matter. The point is that you will have then one more piece of data to ensure that you will eventually get closer to or get to the right destination. But until you decide and start to move, you won't get anywhere. So if you want career clarity, here's your 3-step path. First, download and complete the Clarity Map. Be brutally honest. 2, identify one distraction or toleration that has to stop. You've got to come up with at least one, but you should have several. And 3, make one decision, no matter how small, towards the career and future self that you want. Remember, clarity comes from action, not just thinking about it. If you're feeling resistance, great. That means that you're hitting up against your growth edge. You're already growing by thinking about it. As I tell my clients, decision is the first step towards career evolution. If you're deep in this, do I stay? Do I shift? Do I change everything phase? You don't have to figure it out alone. I'd love to help you sort through the noise and find your next bold step. It's kind of my specialty. Again, I will put book a free 30-minute clarity call with me at theboldlife.coach/programs. Links in the show notes. We'll walk through your clarity map, decode what your self and your career is really asking for, and outline some next bold moves. Your next chapter is waiting, one clear choice at a time. So stay bold and courageous, my friends. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, head over to theboldlife.coach for more resources, join our community, and start living your boldest life today.